ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरू श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णा चैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So, uh, welcome to day 2 of the Bhagavad Gita crash course, and I hope you had enough time to ponder over yesterday's material. And today we are going to discuss, first we are going to recap what we did yesterday, and then we are going to talk about today's uh, part of the course. So, to recap what we did yesterday, we have to understand that the Bhagavad Gita, what we need to basically understand is Bhagavad Gita has 5 subject matters. So remember them, and you can count them on your fingertips nicely. So the 5 subject matters are Ishvara, who is God; Jiva, who is the soul, what is the soul; Prakriti, what is material nature; Kala, what is time; and Karma. So these 5 subject matters are the essential subject matters of the Bhagavad Gita. So understanding who is the supreme controller, Ishvara. Then second is understanding the Jiva, who is the soul. Then Prakriti. What is this material nature? Kala, that is time, and karma. So these 5 are the essential subject matters of the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita consists of 18 chapters. The first 6 chapters are called Karma Yoga. The middle 6 chapters are called as Bhakti Yoga, and the last 6 chapters are called as Jnana Yoga. So the essence of the Bhagavad Gita lies in the middle 6 chapters, that is in the Bhakti Yoga. So the Bhagavad Gita is also divided into three broader sections depending on the subject matter of each shloka. So they are further divided into sambandha, what is relationship, avideya, what is the process of attaining that relationship, and prayojana, so what is the benefit of that relationship. So there is sambandha, avideya, prayojana. So the five subject matters of the Gita: Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. The three divisions, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. And the three other divisions, that is Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana, we should understand uh, clearly from the Bhagavad Gita. So the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, in summary, it is Arjuna's anxiety. Basically, when we have material desires to accomplish, then when we have material desires to accomplish, then there is material anxiety. So the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is about material anxiety. So Arjuna has so many questions. So Arjuna has so many questions because he is seeing that the goal of trying to enjoy this material world with friends and family, that goal is not being reached. He is in a predicament because he is thinking our whole goal is to enjoy this material world, but unfortunately, we are not able to enjoy this material world. So, his goal of trying to enjoy this material world is being thwarted. So, enjoying this material world means everybody wants to have good money, wealth, support, family, and all the different enjoyment everybody wants. But everybody is struggling to achieve these things. Even if you achieve these things, material nature is a little harsh, and material nature doesn't let us enjoy these forever. We are in constant fear of trying to lose what we have, of being afraid of being losing what we have: family, friends, money, everything. So, material nature does not allow us to enjoy peacefully, enjoy uh, completely. So, material nature puts us in this difficult situation. So, therefore, we should be very, very thoughtful of all the difficulties we are facing, and we should try to make a permanent solution. So Krishna does not answer Arjuna's questions that he has to kill all his family members, Guru, and all his relatives just to achieve uh, some material enjoyment, that is, enjoying the royal throne. So Arjuna wants to enjoy the royal throne, but he is in anxiety, and he is thinking, if I enjoy the royal throne, then who will see me sitting on the royal throne? My Guru, my grandfather, my friends, my relatives, they're all going to die in this battlefield. And who is ever actually going to uh, so who is ever going to um, actually see me enjoy this world? Because you don't want to just enjoy, but you also want to uh, propagate your enjoyment, isn't it? You want few people to see. So that is why Facebook is uh, so much used. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You want to let the world know that you are happy, or you have achieved something, or if you are in difficulty, you want to reach out. So how do you actually achieve that? Hmm? How do you actually achieve that? So that we need to understand is the Arjuna's anxiety. I want to enjoy this world, but I see that everything else is coming to an end. So how do I really enjoy this world? Hmm? So that is Arjuna's anxiety. So put it together in a perspective, we are also in a similar situation. Hmm? We are also in a similar difficult situation in trying to enjoy this world. Hmm? So when Arjuna puts forward his questions to Krishna, Krishna does not answer immediately. Krishna tries to tell Arjuna just to fight. Come on, just fight. You want to enjoy, then fight. Then, after some time, when Arjuna realizes that friendly talks are not the way to gain knowledge, spiritual knowledge, or the end to the material miseries, then Arjuna surrenders. He says, uh, Arjuna says, Shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. So I become your disciple and a soul surrendered to you. So then Krishna assumes charge and begins to chastise, like a guru will do to his disciple. He begins to chastise. He chastises Arjuna and he says, you are grieving for that which is not worthy of being grieved for. So he becomes grave, like a guru becomes very grave, very serious. And he says, Arjuna, you are a fool. So that is the first thing we have to understand, is that the one who does not have a knowledge of matter and spirit. So the definition of knowledge in the Bhagavad Gita is to understand matter, spirit, and the controller of both. So understand this. So matter, spirit, and the controller of both. So this is the definition of knowledge. So if we do not understand the definition, the difference between matter, spirit, and the controller of both, so this body is matter. So what gives life to this dead matter is the spirit, that is Atma, And the controller of both is actually Krishna. So the controller of both is actually Krishna. So there is matter, there is spirit, and the controller of both. So the definition of knowledge is nowhere to be found so clearly as is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. So knowledge means to know the difference between matter, spirit, and to know the controller of both. So matter and spirit, that is material nature, Atma, and the controller of both is Krishna. So if you understand this much, then the definition of knowledge is there. So from this point, Krishna explains to Arjuna the importance of the Atma, the soul, and the importance of uh, that the soul is avinashi, it is not, never killed, never destroyed, never changed. Like we are all young and we want to remain young, but it's not possible. The teeth will fall off, our bones will become old and crackle and everything. So we have to understand that we are spirit soul and we are not this body which is full of misery, and that this soul is completely eternal, full of knowledge, full of bliss, and this soul has a spiritual form. So this is a very important point, that the soul has actually a spiritual form. So this spiritual form that is there of the soul is complete, perfect, and beautiful. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains to us and gives us the goal, of the of human life. And that is, the main goal is that we have to go back to the spiritual world. This is not our real and permanent place. Although we may be green card holders, permanent citizens, or citizens, whatever. But eventually, death will take all this away. So no matter what secure position you get in this world, even that of Brahma, after millions of years, even Brahma has to die. So this position that is there, this is not our real position. Sthanam Vaikuntha Vijayaha. The real position of a living entity is that he is part and parcel of Krishna, and he is meant to live in the spiritual world. He is not meant to live in the material world. So Krishna is explaining that God is a person. So the takeaways from the first class, the God is a person, the soul is a person, and he can interact with God. You can play with God. You can enjoy. You can become happy with God. That's the goal. You can actually enjoy with God. That is our real enjoyment, not here. Here our enjoyment is limited. We will suffer here instead of enjoying. Behind every enjoyment, there is suffering in this material world, isn't it? So when you eat gulab jamun, if you eat too much, then next day morning there is a lot of suffering, isn't it? So if you eat a lot of ice cream, in the beginning it's fine, but after some time it gives you cold, cough, then it gives you constipation, all different things. People drink alcohol thinking it will make them happy, but eventually they get cancer. They beat their wives, they get so. any material enjoyment, there is some suffering somewhere, hidden suffering, every material enjoyment. So therefore, one has to strive for that happiness which has no material cause, which gives you no material suffering. So what is that enjoyment? So that enjoyment is the enjoyment of Krishna. Yasmin tushte jagat tushtam. So if you enjoy, if you actually uh, satisfy Krishna, then you will also be happy. So Krishna explains this goal to Arjuna. And he tells Arjuna, basically what he is telling in the beginning is that you are a soul, Arjuna, you don't die. You have a form, Arjuna, and you have a relationship with me. So all these relatives that you see, all these relatives are there because of me. And if you build your relationship with me, the soul builds his relation with the Supreme Soul, then his relationship with every other soul is already achieved. So if you worship Krishna, you have worshipped everything. So if you have served Krishna, you have served every living entity. Some people have this wrong notion saying Manava Seva, Madhava Seva. No. You cannot serve man and say I'm serving God. No. You serve a devotee of Krishna, yes, then Krishna accepts that as real service. Because the one concept which I did not explain yesterday was, we have to understand, is that the nature of the soul is to serve. The nature of the soul, the concept. The soul is a person, God is a person, and they are connected by sambandha, by relationship. And what is that relationship? Of loving service. For example, a mother and a child. The mother loves the child. In Kannada it is said, Hetta taige pergude muddu. Means even if a rat is born, the child still loves. So even though the children may be Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, the mother still loves the child. Or if the child is Rama, the mother still loves the child. So no matter what is the case, and a case of unalloyed love is mother and child. So therefore, this unalloyed love is rarely found in this material world. And we do that service, the mother does the service to the child, not expecting that he will take care of me in my old age. No. The mother does the service because she simply loves the child, is very attached to the child. So the soul is actually attached to Krishna. So Krishna begins to actually explain this to Arjuna, that your real relationship is with me, and all these people, they are all connected to me. So what is your anxiety? They are related to me, and you are also related to me. So if you work as per my direction, then everything is successful. So that is the sum and substance of the Bhagavad Gita. So how it continues is, Krishna first explains the soul, and he says, you don't kill anything anyway, so fight. So now Arjuna's questions is what takes the Bhagavad Gita forward, makes it more interesting. Then Krishna talks about how one should control one's mind and senses. At the end of the second chapter, that one should meditate on Krishna, and by meditating on some nonsense, you become attached to that nonsense and you suffer for it. So by meditation, what do you think of? So what you should think of? You should think of Krishna. So Krishna is explaining in the one side that one should fight, one should do your duty, because you have this body now, the soul, until it comes to the point where the soul can express itself in this body. The soul can completely express itself, come to the point of liberation where the soul is expressing its real self. Its real self of the soul is, he sees nothing else but Krishna and his devotees. Until you come to that point, one has to feed this body, one has to do work, one has to serve. So Krishna is saying gradually to Arjuna that in the third chapter, he begins to say that your life you should do yagya. A human life means it is meant for this higher knowledge, higher understanding, and to gain this higher knowledge, one has to do yagya. Krishna, in the beginning of the third chapter, also explains about the uh, the yoga. So there are 4 types of yoga I explained, but mainly into 2 categories. One is analytical. So the jnana yogi, analytical, jnana and dhyana. So there are 2 types of yogis in this world. One is a jnana yogi who begins to realize and he tries to realize the impersonal feature of God. Impersonalism is one of the greatest calamity, to think that God does not have a form. There is also an impersonal Brahman. Because Krishna is in Vaikuntha, in the spiritual world, around the Vaikuntha there is a Brahman effulgence. There is a bright light, just like the sunlight is a reflection of that Brahman light. So there is this Brahman light. But this Brahman light that we see, it actually comes from Krishna. So those who think that this Brahman light is everything, is the end all, this is God, this is the ultimate feature of God, they are mistaken. So this Brahman feature is there, but within that Brahman feature is Krishna. Krishna is the source of this light. So if you understand this point, that God is a person, is the most beautiful, transcendental, sweetest person, and from him comes this light. There are 3 features. One is this Brahman, and second is called Paramatma. When the soul comes to the material world, Lord Krishna expands as Vishnu, and he accompanies the soul throughout his material journey. So that is called as Paramatma, and he is in every atom in this material world. So he is in different forms, in different Vishnu forms in this material world. So that feature is called as Param Atma, and the last feature is called as Bhagavan. So the last feature is called as Bhagavan. So the Bhagavan is Krishna. So the Bhagavan feature. So there is Brahman, there is Paramatma, and then there is Bhagavan. So we have to understand these 3 features of the Lord. So the Jnana Yogi achieves the Brahman feature, the Dhyana Yogi achieves the Paramatma feature, and the Bhakti Yogi achieves the Bhagavan feature. So that is why the Bhakti Yoga is considered the highest platform, in which you are in the platform of the Atma. What is the platform of the Atma? That the soul is able to express itself in love with Krishna. Just like when Hanuman tore open his heart, what he could see within his heart, there was in everybody's heart there is supposed to be Paramatma, but what he sees in his heart is Ram, Lakshman, Sita. So the soul, you are present here, the Atma, and what the Atma sees within the heart. Now we are seeing Paramatma because we have lost our relationship with our Ishtadev. We have some love with some form of Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us love of Radha Krishna. So when you achieve pure bhakti, then in your heart you will see Radha Krishna, not Paramatma. So right now there is Paramatma who is giving you direction. So then Krishna explains that because one has this body, one has to do yagya. So he begins with karma yoga. He explains karma yoga, that whatever you do, you have to offer it to Krishna. In India, we famously say about karma yoga, they say karmanyeva adhikaraste. So you have a right to do your work. Ma bhaleshu kadachana, but you have no right to the fruit. Ma karma phala heturbhu, ma te sangastva karmani. That actually offer your results to me. We should offer our results to Krishna. That is the beginning of karma yoga. We should offer our results to Krishna. For example, one student in India, he wanted to enjoy. He wanted to go to discos, clubs, bars. He wanted to enjoy. But in India, he felt his parents are always monitoring him. and he was feeling very, very depressed. So he decided, let me go to America and let me become a student there, or let me get a good job there, and then I can enjoy. So he got a good job. He came to America. He went to Florida, and then he wanted to enjoy clubs, this, that, everything. But then his father called and he said, "How much are you earning?" He said, $6,000. He said, "Every month, give me $4,000." So this boy was shocked. What do you mean, give me $4,000? Every month, give me $4,000. So the boy was very depressed. Now, what will I do with 2,000? I have to pay rent, have grocery, food, travel. Within 2,000, I have to. Then I cannot go to any club or enjoy something like that. So every month he started giving to his father 4,000. So like this, he did for 5 years. Eventually, his father saw a girl for him, and then he got him married. On the day of the marriage, his father gave him a big fat check. And how much was that? So 4,000 into 12 into 5. 16 to 4. $240,000. 5 to 5. He gave him that check. So then his father was shocked. And then he saw the son was shocked. What is this? You gave me all the money back? He said, my dear son, when you were alone, you wanted to enjoy. But you would be in wrong hands. Some woman could have cheated you. Somebody could have cheated you. So I tried to act like a good father and save you from that calamity. Now you will not misuse your money, because for everything your wife is watching you. Right? So you will not misuse your money. So you will spend it wisely. Because now you are a responsible person. So similarly, Krishna is saying, give your wealth to me, give yourself to me. When the time is ripe, Krishna will give everything back millions of times multiplied. So we have to understand that. That we are giving to Krishna because Krishna does not want us to misuse it. And when Krishna wants us to do something, he will give us all the wealth. He will give us all the wealth. No need to worry about it. Krishna will arrange. When the time is right, it will come. So this much faith a devotee should have. So therefore, yajna means offering what actually belongs to Krishna. Actually, this money, wealth, everything belongs to Krishna. So that wealth, everything belongs to Krishna. So everything should be offered to Krishna with great love. So that is our situation. So we should offer everything to Krishna. And then when we offer everything to Krishna, we will actually become very, very peaceful, because everything what we offer to Krishna is being used in the proper way. So Krishna also says, offer your food to me before you eat. Yajna shishtashinas santo muchyante sarva kilvishaihi bhunjate tam agam papam yappachatyatma karanat. So he says, what you eat, if you don't offer it to me, you are eating only sin. But once you become a devotee of Krishna, you are released from all kinds of sin. So therefore, life must be a yajna. So that is the essence of the third chapter. That one should begin gradual karma yoga. And this karma yoga, by becoming detached from material enjoyment, because material enjoyment makes you lose your real knowledge. If somebody is in the club drinking, somebody is having illicit sex, somebody is only watching sports all the time, all these different things, they dull your brain. They dull your spiritual intelligence also, because when the mind is full of sin, one cannot understand spiritual knowledge. So that's why Krishna says, Esham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam tedanda moha nirmukta bhajante mam dradavrata. So he says that one who has finished his antagatam papam, one who has finished his sinful activity. So Krishna says, you are soul, you belong to me, but you have this body which has karma. So therefore, you have to act, because you have karma, you have to make a living, you have to live in this world, you have to act. Therefore, whatever you do it as yajna. Like one of our devotees, students, he wanted to get initiated. So I said, okay, we'll get you initiated. But he was chanting 16 rounds for 2 years, 3 years. But what he was doing was, he was doing cancer research. And in that cancer research, he had to use uh, fetal bovine serum. So that it comes from when you kill a pregnant cow, the blood that comes, the serum that is extracted, and that is used to grow cancer cultures. Huh? So this boy said, I want to get initiated. I said, how can you get initiated when you are using such sinful uh, activity to kill cows and actually get some realization, and how can you act when you have to deal with such sinful work? So then the boy quit that PhD. Somehow he got a good job, and then he got initiated. So when one is performing sinful activity, that sin clouds your mind. So therefore, whatever you do, honestly, one should try to cultivate spiritual knowledge. So Krishna glorifies spiritual knowledge. And gradually this yajna leads to spiritual knowledge. By performing yajna, the result of doing yajna, because when you do yajna, you naturally question. Oh, but also by yajna there are two questions, two things that happen. By doing yajna, one gets purified. Secondly, one gets, when you do yajna, you have to take the association of a brahmana. So that brahmana also gives you spiritual knowledge. So there is so when you do yajna, there is purification as well as association. Because to do yajna, you need guidance. You cannot do your own yajna, right? Oh, I want to donate something. Okay, let me, like somebody is outside walking on the street with a board saying, today is my birthday, give me money to drink beer. Oh, you feel compassion. Oh, it's his birthday, let me give him money, let him drink beer. But that is compassion in the mode of ignorance. So to do a proper yajna, how to do it for Vishnu, you need a Brahman, you need guidance. So by doing yajna, one gets the association and also one gets purification, because to do yajna, you have to take the association of Brahmana as well as Shastra. So when you refer to Shastra, that is Krishna, you are getting purified. When you perform yajna, you are getting purified. You are getting purified, you are getting detached, you are coming to the spiritual platform. And by associating with Brahmana and by getting Brahminical knowledge, also you come to that spiritual platform. So, in the fourth chapter, Krishna explains how one should gain the spiritual knowledge by actually approaching a guru. By actually approaching a guru. So, without approaching a guru, one cannot gain spiritual knowledge. So, approaching a guru means surrendering unto him. So, one has to surrender unto a particular guru, and without which one cannot gain this perfect knowledge. So, in the fourth chapter, Krishna explains, the fourth chapter itself is called transcendental knowledge, and Krishna says the value of this spiritual knowledge. He says this spiritual knowledge means, now we define knowledge. What is knowledge? Knowledge means to understand matter, spirit, and the controller of both. So, the definition of knowledge is to understand what is matter, what is spirit, and who is the controller of both. So, Krishna explains that he himself comes in the form of a guru. So, guru is a representative of Krishna, and Krishna himself comes to exhibit himself periodically. So he says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirbhavati bharata abhyuttanam dharmasya tadatmanam srajamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So Krishna is saying that yada yada hi dharmasya, whenever there is a decline in religious practice, I appear. abhyuttanam adharmasya. So tadatmanam srajami aham. So I appear means Krishna is there all the time, but he becomes visible to people in general at the time when he decides to appear. So that timing is given. And why does he come? Paritranaya sadhunam, to actually encourage the devotees. Vinashaya cha duskritam, to actually kill the rakshasas. Vinashaya cha duskritam. Dharma samsthapanarthaya. To establish dharma. Sambhavami yuge yuge. It comes in every yuga. So therefore, one has to understand that this knowledge means to understand Krishna, the spirit soul, and this material nature. These three items you have to understand. Three things. These are transcendental subject matters. So knowledge means to understand matter, spirit, and controller of both. So knowledge here in the 4th chapter, it explains Krishna. It explains about Krishna. It explains about how this soul can actually achieve, and Krishna explains the importance of surrender unto Guru, and actually the importance of control of mind and senses. So without control of mind and senses, without control of the mind and surrender unto Guru, one cannot actually achieve self-realization. So Krishna also explains that this knowledge is attained through parampara. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu. So this knowledge comes through parampara. This knowledge is given by me. Krishna says given by me, and only my authorized representative can actually give this knowledge. So this knowledge is given by Krishna, and only an authorized representative can actually give this knowledge. So he explains the importance of this spiritual knowledge. So Krishna tells Arjuna, therefore the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight. So Krishna explains that how transcendental knowledge burns all sinful reactions. So how transcendental knowledge burns sinful reactions, he explains that. And how transcendental knowledge brings somebody to the higher platform, transcendental platform, beyond this material platform, that is also explained. So then he is asking, so Arjuna is asking in the 5th chapter, when it begins, so Krishna is explaining, yes, you have to gain spiritual knowledge, and this spiritual knowledge will liberate you, will take you to a higher platform. So Arjuna is confused. Arjuna's confusion begins with the 5th chapter. Knowledge means to achieve this knowledge, what should I do? So the question, how do you attain spiritual knowledge? So do I attain it just by reading Bhagavad Gita? Or how do I attain this spiritual knowledge? So that is his confusion. Means if I work, then how am I going to achieve knowledge? How am I going to fight at the same time and then achieve knowledge at the same time? How am I going to do that? How am I going to attain knowledge and fight at the same time? So the presentation that I have given you, so after Arjuna has been impressed with the importance of work and seeking knowledge, Arjuna is perplexed, his determination is confused, he sees fighting and knowledge as contradictory. So I'll just read the next slide. Therefore, Arjuna opens chapter 5 by asking Krishna to definitively explain whether the renunciation of work or work in devotion is superior. So Krishna answers that one who is detached from his work's result is the one who is truly renounced. Such a person knows that while the body acts, the soul actually does nothing. Arjuna, therefore, do his duty, steadily act for the satisfaction of Krishna. Impartially viewing the external world, he should reside in the body, aloof from bodily activities, by fixing his consciousness on the Supreme and knowing that Krishna is the true enjoyer and the goal of sacrifice and austerity and the Lord of all planets. He is the pure soul, will find true peace beyond this material world. So basically, if you read that notes, you'll really understand that Arjuna is asking, uh, should I renounce working, take sannyas, and just read Shastra? Or should I engage in activity? Because if I engage in activity, then I have to engage with so many things. When you have to deal with society, you have to deal with children, women, good people, bad people, you have to deal with everything. But if I give up all activity, then there is no sin. People think as long as I have to act in this world, I'll be sinful. Huh? So I will give up all activity, then no sin. That is Mayavadi thinking. I have a head, I have a headache, so I'll chop off my head and no headache. No, that's not the answer. So I no activity. No. One has to act so the actual activity is being answered here. What is the real activity? So the three types of activity in the Bhagavad Gita is karma, vikarma and akarma. Karma means following Shastra, doing yajna. Vikarma means not doing yajna, doing sinful activity, papa. But the real activity is akarma. Akarma means an activity which is meant to serve the Supreme. So Krishna's answer was, one can gain knowledge, buddhi yoga, one can gain knowledge automatically when one acts. Like in our devotees, we say, act now, samadhi later. Work now, samadhi later. So when you come to the temple, nobody tells you, when you come to an ISKCON temple, nobody tells you on day one, go lock in your room and read Bhagavatam for entire day. No, our mind is not that purified to sit and study Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita for a long time. If you read Bhagavad Gita long time, we are not in that position. We don't have that mental strength or that purity to understand Bhagavad Gita so quickly. We don't have that strength to understand. We have to get purified. So to get purified, one has to do some practical activity. So Prabhupada says, whenever somebody would come to temple, I want to chant whole day Hare Krishna. As soon as he comes in, Prabhupada would say, do something practical first. Like for example, when one great, it was said Rabindranath Tagore, one great Indian poet, he went to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and he said, I want to understand God. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said, okay, but before you try to understand God, go and help my pujari. So he sent him to the pujari. So went to the pujari and the pujari told him, oh, you want to understand God? Very nice. Okay, so help me. I will help you understand God. First you help me, then I will help you understand God. So the whole day, he actually washed pots. He said, clean these pots. So he was cleaning pots, cleaning the pujari room, cleaning, whole day. Whole day he was cleaning up. And in the evening he asked, now did you understand God? He said, yes. So the point is, when you do bhakti, when you actually do practical activity, jnana and vairagya comes automatically. So Krishna is explaining that one should, as long as one is not liberated in this world, one has to act in this world and give the fruits to Krishna. And when you are liberated, then you know how to use your fruits of your activity in the service of Krishna. Just like one of our devotees, he said he is earning good money. He's earning like about $8,000 to $9,000 a month, and he is donating almost $7,000 after his taxes, whatever is remains, everything, keeping just his bare expenses. He's donating everything to Prabhupada's movement. This temple, they need so much money. This temple, they need so much money. He's completely detached. I was surprised to find a person like that. He is my god brother, and I was like amazed how somebody can actually be so detached. So, because when somebody comes to the point of realization, he realizes that by giving this out, I get so much benefit by giving this out. So, then he wants to give. That is his mood. He wants to give. He wants to give. So, yajna means to give to Krishna. That is it. To Krishna and his devotees. So, yajna means to give to Krishna and his devotees. If we put it very simply, what can please Krishna and his devotees? So, you do gradually to the level of faith. First, we have some level of faith. So, we give some donation, some help to Krishna. Gradually, we want to do something for Krishna. In the end, we surrender unto Krishna. So, this is the gradual progression. So, Krishna is telling Arjuna, you cannot do this. Krishna did not want Arjuna to quit and become sannyasi. So, please understand. So, Arjuna's question was, should I become sannyasi? Should I become sannyasi? Is it important to become sannyasi to actually achieve spiritual knowledge? And Krishna is saying, no. You can be in the same position where you are. You can actually be in the same position where you are, and you can do service to Krishna. You can be in the same work position as you are, do service to Krishna, and you will achieve the same result as a sannyasi will get. You may be in a married situation, you may be a married person, but then in the end, if you follow Krishna consciousness at your home, you will get the same result as a sannyasi will get. So Krishna tells Arjuna, Arjuna is asking, Krishna, you are telling knowledge means I give up everything, I go to some kutir and I read Shastra. Krishna says, Krishna says, no, Arjuna, you have to do your duty. Because one cannot do something without having that mental control. Even if I want to take sannyas, go live in a temple, and give up family life and read Shastra, that is not going to be possible until and unless I am purified to that extent. So Krishna does not want Arjuna to take false renunciation. In India, we will find lot of false sannyasis like this. Everywhere you go, you will find one Baba, one cheating Baba. Krishna says physically one might wear saffron dress, but mentally is always thinking of enjoying women. Mentally is thinking of just getting some money, cheating some people, and going and enjoying this material world. Such a person is a charlatan meditator. He is a cheat. So Krishna does not want such show bottle gurus. Prabhupada did not also want such show bottle gurus. Your determination should be genuine to control, to be Krishna conscious devotees. Your determination should be genuine. So genuine means what? Genuine means you have to strive with sincere means to control your mind and senses. So by doing yajna means at your home you eat only prasad. You don't eat some hotel food. And then you really practice chanting Hare Krishna, doing Kirtan at home. You don't waste time going to some movies, trying to enjoy and thinking that this will provide you some kind of happiness. You associate with devotees. You do all kinds of spiritual activity. So when you do a lot of nice spiritual activity, then gradually your mind becomes purified and you get control of the senses and control of the mind, which are essential things to come to the point of meditation. And in 6th chapter, he gradually comes to the point of meditation. So let us recap. So it begins with questions about anxiety, right, in the first chapter. And in the second chapter, Arjuna is, in the second chapter, Arjuna is given answers by Krishna. Arjuna surrenders and Krishna begins to answer. So he summarizes the Bhagavad Gita. So what are the two steps? two kinds of yogis. One is the analytical jnana yogi. For that you have to achieve sannyas, right? To come to jnana yoga and dhyana yoga. And the next is karma yoga and bhakti yoga. So these are the two paths, and one of which the most practical path Krishna explains is the karma yoga. So Krishna explains that Arjuna, because you have this body, you cannot quit your service. You cannot quit this war and just go back and think that, oh, I have done a great job by quitting this war. No, one has to do his duty. Hmm? You cannot become a beggar. You cannot become a sannyasi artificially. You have to be very, very practical. So that is the lesson here. That he has to be very, very practical. But at the same time, practical means he has to live in this world with pure knowledge. So this knowledge is very, very crucial. So to get this knowledge, one has to do yajna, and also one has to surrender unto Guru. So this knowledge gradually leads to surrender unto Guru. What is that knowledge? That I am not this body, I am spirit soul. Knowledge means to understand matter, spirit, and the controller of both. So when you understand this point, so matter is matter, spirit is we, Atma, and controller is Krishna. So Krishna is controlling both. So we understand this spiritual knowledge, and gradually we should surrender unto Guru and take Diksha. Do what the Guru asks us to do, because Guru is the bona fide representative of Krishna. So when we get the knowledge from a self-realized soul, so that kills all our sins immediately and purifies us and takes us to the next level. And then Krishna further explains that just not this knowledge, but one has to act based on this knowledge. One has to act based on this knowledge. So you have to act with the understanding, I am spirit soul. And what is the nature of the soul? The nature of the soul is to serve Krishna. The dharma, what we call Sanatana dharma, the nature of the soul is to actually serve Krishna. So when the real nature of the soul is to serve Krishna, when you gradually, so by gradually we come to that platform. Now we are body conscious. So we want to do service to the body, which should balance with service to the soul, right? So we should not act in such a way that we lose our mind, like drinking alcohol. Then you are trying to enjoy the body, but you are cutting off your connection with the soul. One has to satisfy the body, eat, sleep, have a nice house, family, everything. But at the same time, one has to cultivate the soul, cultivate the spiritual life in such a way that one creates a harmony between the body, mind, and the soul. One has to live in such a way that one creates a harmony between the body, mind, and soul. And such a creation of harmony is actually called yajna. So Krishna says, not by giving up activity, but by acting properly, by acting in a way to serve Krishna, that one gets this spiritual knowledge. That one gets this spiritual knowledge. And this spiritual knowledge actually makes us very, very successful. So gradually he says that the purification that we achieve by the performance of yajna, then that can lead one to meditation. So we have to come to the point of meditation. So that is the 6th chapter, so which we will take up, although the summaries in notes is here. So we will do that next Saturday in our next live class. So now I would like to encourage if there are any questions or comments, and I'll be happy to answer them. And I would also I'd also like, if all of you are inspired, you can give me phone calls, you can give me a call anytime you feel like, have any question you did not understand. Go through the class once again, go through the video once again, go through the PowerPoint slides once again, and gradually you will see that this knowledge will make sense. It will take a little bit of time, but you will see that there is a beautiful connection. I will try to make more notes, like Anil Prabhuji was saying yesterday about the 4 sampradayas. So it's on my list, so I'll send it tomorrow, day after. So I will try my best to put all this together and give you more notes and see that you get a better understanding. So for today's class, are there any questions or comments that anybody would like to ask? Please feel free to ask. So are there any questions from the devotees on the phone or on the chat? Or any devotees here? You have some question? Any questions? No? No. Okay. So, okay. So, I hope you read more, and I'm sure there will be more questions. So, I will end here, and I will share the link. Hare Krishna. Yes. Yes, Prabhuji. Any question you'd like to ask, Vivek ji?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Vivek here. I have one question. Question is related to prescribed duty. How do we know what is our prescribed duty? Or I'm not fully understanding what Krishna tries to explain when he means you can do your prescribed duty, but at the same time be devoted to me.
Okay, so if everybody has heard the question or not, I'll repeat the question. So, what is prescribed duty? Krishna is saying you can be in your prescribed duty, at your same time you should be devoted to me. So the point is that what is prescribed duty mean? So in the society we have the division Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. But today that system is almost non-prevalent because of modern occupations. So uh, when you do the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, when you do the uh, occupation. So while doing the occupation, Vedic occupation, it is also connected to Krishna, because one realizes the whole goal is to realize that whatever you are acting, the results come from Krishna. So when one does his prescribed duty according to his nature, one, he is satisfied, because today's criteria is do any job but get money. But previously it was not just money. The goal of doing any job or any service was to cultivate spiritual knowledge. And by the Brahmana used to serve the society with spiritual knowledge by worship. The Kshatriya used to help by protecting the cows and the Brahmanas. The Vaishya used to protect the cows and protect agriculture and distribute wealth in an equal manner. And the Shudra will help Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and he will also gain spiritual knowledge. So, because the Brahminical occupation is directly from the Veda, directly connected to Krishna, everything else revolves around it. So, that time, and in that way, while performing one's duty, everything was being gradually connected to Krishna. Unfortunately, today, we are not a Brahminical centered society. So, we are working around not Vedic occupations like mining, extracting oil, wars, manufacturing, steel, bombs, plastic. So these are all non-Vedic occupations which are not centered around Brahmana or the Veda. So in today's context, that is why to understand a prescribed duty is really tough. So that is why in Kali Yuga, because it's an emergency situation, because everybody has lost their occupation in this Kali Yuga, therefore one has to perform, one has to do whatever you are doing and at least try to offer your result to Krishna. So Krishna is saying, if I quit my job, I cannot maintain. Right? So he's trying to tell Arjuna, I give this example that Arjuna, he wanted to quit the battle to focus on spiritual life. But Krishna said, if you quit the battle and you start begging, like Arjuna wanted to do, because a sannyasi lives by begging. So next day he goes to beg to some house, and that lady says, no, no, go ahead, don't stand here. I don't want to give you any prasad. So Arjuna will become very angry because he's Kshatriya by nature. He will become very angry and he'll kill her. Because when you are angry, you cannot control yourself, isn't it? So sannyasa is not meant for Arjuna, who is a Kshatriya. So he has to perform what he is doing. So similarly, we cannot quit our job right now and do something else, and we cannot maintain our family and things like that. So we have to continue what we are doing, whether you are a software engineer, lawyer, judge, you are something, So whatever you are doing, so you have to continue doing whatever you are doing, and at the same time you have to gain spiritual knowledge. Means you have to first of all detach from the result, offer your result to Krishna, number one. Second one, the duty is to see that you, your family, and everybody becomes devotees. That is the other question here, that your family should become devotees of Krishna. So that is our goal. So if we understand these two things, that the goal of our service is to offer the fruits to Krishna and satisfy him, and then uh, and also bring our family to the platform of Krishna consciousness. So if we understand that, so then we can actually become successful. So that is the understanding. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. So Hare Krishna. So that was a nice question by Vivek ji. So I would encourage more of you to read and understand more. And some of you, I don't have your phone numbers. I wanted to add in the WhatsApp group. So you could just email me individually and give me your phone number so that I can add it to the WhatsApp group. And also, if I could call you and check your understanding, so that next week's class we can improve or present it in a different way, so that you could understand it much better. All right. So I will stop here, and I would like to thank all the devotees for joining in for today's class, and see you all next week, next Saturday. Those who missed today's class, we will. I can. I will ask them to watch this class, and then we can have a question answer individually, or I can talk to them individually later. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki
Hare
jai.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai.